Right, what? Hey, there we go. I think we're live. Yeah, we're live. Let's just say we're live. It is 8:02 p.m. Eastern, 5:02 p.m. Pacific. Christ, I've been saying that for almost 3 years, and I've just started screwing it up a month ago. What is it? It's 1 in the morning in the UK, where Ryan X hails from. Welcome to the Sunday Night Hang, Isolation Edition, Quarantine Edition. I don't know. Call it what you want. I haven't been out of the house since Tuesday, other than I went to the end of the driveway. I went that far, and then there we are. So in the chat, oh wait, first I'll welcome our guest. Jesus Christ, that's a good idea. We've got Boom, my brother from another mother, and I'm not just saying that because he also has the luscious toned locks, Mr. Randy Crooks. You know him and love him from the chat, folks. Woo!
Hello,
and
everybody.
Course, we got a sidekick because it's not a crazy hang. Christ, there we are. I don't know. It's Tom. That's right. Burn!
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up? What's up? Let's just jump in. We're gonna say shout out in the chat because remember, I left it. I left it a while ago, and that was a mistake. We had 150 people in here. I think it was at least that. We have, I don't know, Sandra Porkany. Sure. See, I knew it the other day, and then I forgot. We have Martin Lemaire, hailing from the Poutine province. We have Ryan X. We have some guy named Randy Crooks. I don't know how he got in here. Somebody should time him out or something. I don't know. Terry's Triple G's moderator to the stars. Chat skips ahead immediately. Sure, why not? Scrolling back, Janice Lala is here. JP Page 2, BC Rich 581, Hip Metal Works, Thomas Santiago, Dan of New Jersey, Papa Blue. We've got Brian Spalding. The chat skipped ahead again. Dan in New Jersey. Sure. Let's just go with that. We got
Joe
20
Hervey 84 you missed too.
Joe Hervey 84, Kid Shred himself. All right. Yeah, there we go. The feel buttons here. Awesome. Eric C. My chat's delayed too. You know what? That's weird when you run a show and your guests see the chat before you do. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's the delay from the live chat when you're watching. We know about the 30-second delay, but when I get the extra delay, hey, Julia's here. Yay. Going to do that telly video. I will be doing that hopefully tomorrow. Awesome. So if you have any questions for any one of us, ask away. I realize my amp's still in standby, but that's keeping the room warm, so we'll just leave it the way it is. That's fine. It's to quote Axl Rose, it's a cold November rain today. So yeah, I went there.
I almost didn't make it. I had I don't know what weather you guys had today, but I thought, my son goes, is there windstorms today? Because we have woods behind us, so the concern is 70 and 80 foot huge trees. I mean, very old trees, and some of them are not the most stable. So we're like, we need to be careful we're not going to get crushed to death. And so he opens the sliding glass door in the back, and it's like torrential rains. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to lose power. Because we're like the last house at the end of
your bathtub
civilization. Yeah, before it hits the woods. And thankfully we didn't. So
we got enough rain that I heard the sump pump start going on for the first time in months. I was like, you know what? That's going to go off every 20 minutes all night. I won't be sleeping. So immediately I switched our water system over from our well to the cistern. I'm like, running a load of dishes. Let's just bring that down a bit. But yeah, we're hitting 65 mile an hour winds here. Blew one of the windows open on the front of the house. Just ripped the gear mechanism to open and close, which they don't work with crap anyways. But it works even worse now. So that's a project for the spring. And I grabbed the car cover off Dad's car because it was just hanging there more like a flag. And I thought, I do like our neighbors, but do they deserve a free car cover?
No, is this like a tonneau cover or like a whole car cover?
No, a whole car cover.
Oh, yeah.
Which was
expensive.
You have to kind of judge between the gusts when to try to take that in because, Tom, we're kind of built the same where
not a lot of
you have that, think of it as, it's a form-fitted sheet for your bed, except for the size of a car. So the right gust of wind at the right angle is just going to parachute that right open. And
yeah,
if you don't hold on tight, it's gone. And if you do hold on tight, you're gone as well.
No straight line winds are a bitch too.
Yeah. And it's always windy here.
It's like a
But that
focused
isn't
tornado.
Yeah, you're in that area of the world where, see, fortunately, I don't have to worry about tornadoes, thankfully.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Airborne pen.
My mom grew up in Tornado Alley.
I saw who else? Joe C's in here. Awesome to see Joe C in here again. Oh, feel button. Nice. See,
I like that
he knows
too.
how to bring it back around.
Feel button. You can hang out, but you don't have to comment the rest of the night. You nailed it. You've won.
Yeah, and I'm guessing. Hey, Fruitcake Tony is here. Good to see
What's
you,
up,
my
Tony?
man. Yeah, I get a forecast from cousin Doug. I was talking to him on the phone earlier. You know, for those who don't know, he lives in Waterloo, Ontario, which is 3 hours due west. Let's just say, I don't know, a couple 100 miles, give or take. And he's like, storm's coming. I'm like, oh, it's been here all day. He goes, no. I was like, oh yeah, like we have one tree in the yard and it's blowing branches against and leaves against my bedroom window, which doesn't make sense. So I'm like, the wind's due south. That's not good. And he's like, yeah, wait till the torrential rains and then the hail comes. I was like, oh, great. That's so. Folks, if we go haywire on tonight's show, I may lose power. I may have hail. I may lose internet. He tried to do a show today for his channel, and he had no internet. So that kind of made doing a show hard. And I was like, yeah. Cool tunes made easy. Brody's Jam Cave.
Do you live, Randy?
I live just outside of Des Moines, Iowa, west, about 15 minutes.
Okay, that's pretty close to where my mother grew up.
Yeah, where'd she grow up?
Let me think. She lived in Des Moines for a while, and she also lived in, I'm trying to think, smaller town. Oh gosh, no, I can't think.
What suburb?
They lived in an old farmhouse, it was like, I know, I can see it in my head because I've seen pictures of it, but I'm trying to think of I'll have to look. I'll let you know if I remember. But she lived in Des Moines for a while, but then they lived in like a real small town before that. My grandfather was a World War II cargo pilot, so he got out of the service and just, moved out there.
Oh, sure.
Apparently, Joe lost his internet with 65-mile-an-hour winds as well, but yet he's still able to comment. That's impressive, Joe. That's real dedication. So thanks. And Marsman is here, the mayor of Marseille. Okay, there we go. Papa Blue is he says Randy's by me. I'm by Council Bluffs.
My stepdaughter lives up there. She's a nurse. Well, no, she's up by Sioux City, I guess, but it's out that way. Yeah.
Fruitcake Tony asks, Ben Coombs, what's new, Ben? Well, nothing, because I haven't been able to leave the house since, my road trip on Tuesday, which I can tell you all the places to park in downtown Toronto, pretty much. I did find one free spot, but I don't think it was free. I just didn't pay. And I did find another one where you do the ticket thing, and they didn't have one of those gates. And I hung out in one of those parking lots for a while until the security guy started giving me the stink eye. So I kind of left because he realized I was clearly loitering, and I was. And I saw all the cool neighborhoods around downtown Toronto, which is awesome because for those who don't know, Toronto, a lot like New York City in many ways, there's all these, like each street is a neighborhood in many ways. And it was like, oh, okay. And a lot of the street signs they put up, like there's the fashion district, which formerly known as the garment district, which, largely Jewish population. And they call it the fashion district to give it a gentrified name. And then I'm all of a sudden in the Discovery District. I'm like, what the deuce is the Discovery District? University of Toronto, various colleges, right, all right there, right? But it's all downtown because they're old. I get it. Yes, Tony, I filmed those demos last week, last Thursday. Tom keeps changing the channel on himself. I don't know how he's doing that exactly, but it's chicanery. That's okay. We've got the original Paramutant here. Hey, there's Mayhem. Late but here, but not here. Grandpa Duty calls. Have a great show. Cheers, buddy. We need to talk soon. I'm getting very low on supplies. The fuel light is on.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm quarantined, Tom.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, I got the hookup.
So, yeah, like I could use 2 Rise and Quest Delicioso pizzas, pepperoni. Keep it simple, and maybe some garnishment. Just leave it in the cab of the pickup truck out front, and I'll go come out.
It's like my birthday party last weekend. We had Mexican food catered in, and a couple of my friends came over, and they brought me over like an 1/8 of an ounce. And then my brother gave me some hash, and I got a couple bags of edibles.
Nice.
It was a nice night.
That is nice.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I have hash.
I mean, I have a medical card, so I have a local dispensary, but it's just, I mean, I've been in there before. You could easily spend insane amounts of money in there. Thankfully, the guy who's the manager at the closest dispensary I go to, they just opened a new one, is actually the head Muay Thai kickboxing instructor. He's like a Muay Thai champion. He does some kickboxing too, but it's mostly straight Muay Thai. But at my son's school where they do like jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and everything, and he's the managing director or whatever of this dispensary. So when I came in, he was like, "Are you a veteran?" I said, "No, my dad is." And he said, "But you work with kids, right?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to give you a discount under the teacher discount." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I get 10% off every time now.
Nice.
You know, helps a little bit.
Cristo Magnifico. Hello. How do you guys
Muay Thai, that's some vicious stuff, man.
No, I just break it up and sprinkle it in with some herb. That's or on top of a bowl, a little Caesar salad action going on there.
Do they sell in Canada? They've been doing it at the local dispensary now, this thing where they'll take like a nug, they dip it, or they pour they roll it in keef, and then they dip it in THC oil. And it's called caviar.
Holy crap.
It's called caviar, but it's not true caviar. But I'm not into the dab rigs and everything. That stuff's too potent for me. I'm old school.
Yeah, they have pre-rolled moon rocks, which is it's a combination of the shake and keef when they do a bunch of pre-rolls. Yeah. So it's like, it's a concentrate because, I can't verify that it costs approximately $20 Canadian to buy just one J. Moon rock. These are
$30 a gram because it's keef, pure like extract N. It's 1 gram.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to say it may have messed up the male side of the bridal party of a certain buddy's wedding. Because we had during the rehearsal dinner right before the dinner to work up a good appetite, including possibly the father of the groom was told he wasn't allowed to partake because we didn't want him. Mr. Oh, I did it back in the day. Yeah, this is not back in the day. This is, you listen to a 45 record. This is a CD. Like, there is no in between. Like, this is.
Well, the average from like 1960 to 1970, you're talking about landrace strains, was 4 to 6%. The average now is 17 to 30%.
Yeah, and based on moon rocky stuff, at a concentrate, really, it's like 40.
I mean, you get something like this, you're looking at like 87 to 95% purity. Have
you ever tried that Willie's Reserve strain on the pens?
I've had a Redheaded Stranger. I've never had the Willie's Reserve.
Oh man, the Willie's Reserve is freaking awesome.
They just got that at my local place. I'll have to check that out. Is it good? Is it a hybrid?
The one I got was,
because I know the Redheaded Stranger is more of a sativa, right?
I don't know. I'm not into it that big. Generally, when my buddy goes to Colorado, I get something from him. But
I have friends that work in the industry, so they educate me a little. But I know that Redheaded Stranger, based on the name of the album, was the original. Like, they based that on the one that Willie liked. But I know Willie's Reserve was like the supposed to be the refined version of that. Well, I don't know what they blended it with, but
first time you hit it, you better make sure you're sitting down.
Yeah,
it is potent.
Challenge accepted.
Have you had any of they're mixing now, like they're mixing Blue Dream with something called PCK. It's a land race. It's Pakistani land race.
I haven't seen it, but it's not legal here in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
I get whatever I get is when my buddy goes to Colorado.
Sure.
Or
It's,
old school. What's the strain? Does it matter?
Yeah, Pakistani Citral Kush. So it's a
Guitar Man
landrace
45.
Pakistani Kush mixed with the Blue Dream. So that's what I have now, amongst I think 9 other strains. I always buy it, and when I have money, I buy it and I just save it. You know.
Well, I'm a cheap date when it comes to that. 1 or 2 hits, and I'm good for the rest of the day most of the time.
Yeah.
Eddie. Distinguished looking guess.
It's got the buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
All right, yeah. Touche, feel button. Oregon. So here, yeah.
I have some friends up in Buffalo, big Bills and Sabres fans. They live in.
He's not actually in Buffalo.
Oh, he's not.
No. He's one of those guys that lives in what we call the Golden Horseshoe, which is like Toronto around to Niagara Falls, which is across from Buffalo. So he's actually closer to Buffalo, or just hates Toronto, which I get. You know, that franchise is a little polar. So he's one of those Canadian Buffalo fans.
Gotcha. I have a lot of friends that are Americans that spend a lot of time in Canada. They live in like right there in Buffalo in North Tonawanda. So like,
I know that place.
Today I'm working in Buffalo. Tomorrow I'm working in Canada. It's all half, 6 of one, half dozen of another.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I know that place. That's like right near the border.
Oh, it's like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I know those signs.
The first time we went up for a bachelor party, and they're like, "Where are we going for the strip clubs?" And they're like, "Canada, much better." Anyway.
So we have any questions from the chat? Not really. That's okay. What are you? They're like 20 minutes.
Strip clubs. The older I got, the less fun I had in them. You know.
That's how I feel too. Yeah, this was about 20 years ago.
I just What's the point? I could just throw money out the window and not have blue balls. You know, I'm good.
So
hey, Robot Master Switch.
My wife took me to Alaska because she is originally, her father was from Alaska.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, she took me to Alaska, and we went to this place where she's going to go on a fishing trip where I don't fish, and I spent way too much time on Navy ships to even want to be out at sea. And we stayed on this place with a golf course where I was going to golf, and there's a strip club right across the street. And she went to her thing, and it was raining, and she says, well, go over to the strip club. And I didn't. I ended up playing like solitaire on a computer or something. And then when she got back, she took me over to the strip club after we got done. She had more fun in there than I did, trying to throw dollars, getting these glasses. So she didn't realize she was trying to get a lap dance, but it was kind of funny.
Boner Jam.
Boner Jams in the house.
I don't know if I have any secrets today.
Yeah, you can put that on a t-shirt if you want, Christo.
I think my background green screen's making my whole picture dark.
Ryan X, I would say more than likely. More than likely. If not, I'm sure they have one between the 3 stores. Yeah, you're talking that, what do they call that? Faded purple, I don't know, faded purple awesomeness? Sure, let's go with that. Because Eljon called me out on the Epiphone videos for those watching Sean Pierce Johnson's channel on Thursday night for his birthday. Happy birthday again, Sean Pierce Johnson.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Feel button here.
I said, just so you know, I'm dropping an Epiphone video tomorrow, and Eljon typed in the chat, yes, I'm very aware of your comments or your demos, Ben, in spite of any flaws, LOL, or something like that.
Yeah,
that's
the poker
great.
chip was the big thing, I think. Yeah, but Field Button says, asked me whether I knew of Randy Crooks, plays on the Skywalks. I avoid going downtown because it's hard to find parking, and I just don't like going downtown. So I'm not aware of him, but
nice.
Who knows? I'll have to check him out.
See, Eddie, I think Eddie might have figured out that color.
And that's
to
a
answer,
beautiful part,
I
too.
got a question.
Split.
Sweet. We are rocking. This started out as a Bud Light tall boy. I cracked it before Randy informed me he's not really an American beer drinker, so I will be switching to Labatt's Blue after this. And and of course we have Old Faithful on standby.
Oh yeah, White Lightning.
Always. Ooh,
And I got some Prairie Fire here too.
Oh, nice.
Nice. We got all kinds of people. We got 40 people watching. Found the demo doing. Yeah, I think I shot that demo this spring, I want to say, Ryan. I don't remember. Exactly, Boner Jams.
And I agree with Joe Hervey there also.
Hey, Jack Collins. Speaking of which, why don't you show us that Performer Telly you got so long ago?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, you tripped into a music sale and found this into your life. And not gonna lie, she's kind of sweet, folks. There we go.
No, I didn't really trip into it. I was actually looking for one similar to this, but there it is.
Oh wow, that's nice.
I've always loved that color.
And then the next satin.
I love the neck humbucker.
I was looking at before I got this one. I was looking at a Squire 70s Telly Deluxe with the Telly pickup at the bridge, and then a wide range humbucker at the neck. But I didn't really want a wide range humbucker there. I wanted a humbucker.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Terry Katz is one of my heroes, and that's what he did to his. So that's why I ended up with this one.
Papa Blue asks, so with all of us messed up, who's driving? Well, we know it's not me because I'm in lockdown, so I'm not allowed to go anywhere till. Well, see, lockdown ends Friday, and I have a party to go to Saturday. Rather convenient. So, not that I'll be hanging out with Mayhem and a bunch of his cohorts. Is the wide range a thinner sound? As I recall, darker sound.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd configuration for a pickup, I think. I mean, I like the way it sounds. And I've got two guitars with wide range humbuckers in them. But
yeah, I've never been a fan of the wide range humbuckers.
I don't know. You put on some chorus and some echo, and you can get some really cool tunes out of there.
I don't know. I just never got into them. But I like very bright pickups. What is Richie called my tone? Right, piercing. I have a piercing tone at times. Where a couple of times where I'll hit a chord and I'm, ooh, that hurt. Let's just back the tone off on the guitar till we can get back to the old loud box.
And with your hearing issues, if you can hear it like that, that's saying something.
That's where I know, because certain frequencies, it's like an ice pick. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sensitive. I'm like, let's just dial that out a bit. Joe has standards, apparently. He says, if it's not 15K plus, I'm not interested. All right, fair enough. So nothing but PRS private stock 10 tops for Joe Hervey, apparently.
That reminds me of John Mancuda telling a story of his friend putting a 59 Les Paul in his hands to figure out what guitar style he likes, and he goes, "Oh, I don't really like this." And he goes, "That's a 59 burst," and he's like, "I just don't like it." And they went to a store and he played a Strat, and he said he took it home and he's like, "Eh." And then he found like his kind of thing, like an old Kramer, like an old ESP or something. He was like, "This is what I want,"
What's up, Metalhead Hippie? Hippie, you gonna be live later tonight? Let me know. I'll send on everyone over there. And yes, thank you, Sandra. Everyone hit that like. See, Sandra. You know what? I'll just do a coin toss every time, and that way I can at least call her by the right name half the time.
Choose one.
So here's the other new purchase that I got since the last time I was on your show.
Nice. Hang on. Let's present and do some promoting that Metalhead Hippie will in fact be live later tonight. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Cool.
Look at that canoe paddle headstock.
Yeah, and it's oh man, it sounds so good. It's got the mini humbuckers in it.
Mini hums, eh?
Is that a casino?
You know what?
It's a Riviera.
P90s would go nice into that. Then, if you're not happy with the mini hums, throw some P90s into her, and she'll be ornery, and that'd be cool. And that, oh dang it, what was I gonna say? Oh, is it headstock heavy?
Not really.
Nice.
I mean, it'll sit level. I mean, dives a little bit, but it's kind of stays at level.
Right.
I seem to be having a problem with my D string or my B string though. I've broken 2 of them.
Papa Blue asked Randy won the lottery?
Oh no. Sometimes you just got to save for what you want.
That's right. And you seem to wait until like that. Let's say it costs $9.79, and Randy will wait that 4 days, and all of a sudden it's $9.69. Because every time he tells me he gets something, he always seems to save that. Like offsets the sales tax. I don't know exactly what it is, but we got Adam D in the chat. Good to see you, Adam D.
Yeah,
wow, that wind is howling outside.
Yeah, I can hear mine too. Mine's like...
The wind is loud when it drowns out the sound of the highway.
And
all those westbound truckers, they're getting no fuel mileage tonight.
It's calm here.
Yes, the vintage Burgundy Les Paul Modern Mayhem was talking about. Yes, I did. I put out the demo on a couple days ago. That was sweet. And of course, I got a comment on it either yesterday or today. Is it coil tap? I thought it was coil split. Anybody who doesn't know already, if it does something, it's a coil tap. No, it's coil split. Whatever. Hit record, coil tap. It doesn't matter. That's what I call all of them. If people don't catch on to that, and that's fine. I don't care.
All I care is it makes a different sound when you do it.
Exactly. Oh, it does something different. Cool. It's not as bad as when I think it was the Gibson Modern. I pull out the one and it was a bypass. So of course it doesn't do anything. And I was like, I don't know what the hell this does in the demo. And people were like, it's a bypass. You should know that, you moron. It was like, hey, where's the documentation on the guitar, moron? I don't see anything. I'm in a store. And it was the kind of store that unless my certain buddy's working, they wouldn't know either. So, this is the same store when I had them looking up for a Wolfgang. They said all they can find in the EVH database was something listed as WG. I was like, Wolfgang. And then the employee says to me, Randy, who would name their guitar a Wolfgang?
Same person would name their kid Wolfgang.
That was what my reply was. And you know what they said? Who?
Oh, Lord. Maybe the person that makes the guitar, maybe that company.
Well, you see, no, they don't carry that brand. The brand is available by that retail chain that we won't name, but that particular location doesn't carry them. And they're like, I was like, why don't you carry any EVH in here? They said, oh, they don't sell. I said, have you ever had any in here? No. Then how do you know they won't sell?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
hey, there's Dale Palmer. So yeah, he's getting the south end of the same deal because he's right across Lake Ontario from me. And I tell you, I wouldn't want to be out on Lake Ontario because I bet you there's 10-foot swells out there.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Dwight Bailey in the house.
The Hitman.
Nice. Kind
10-foot swells in Ontario. That's surfing weather.
Exactly. Yes, now Christo, you see that it isn't tap or reduction and of output, and both is a split. See, I don't know or care, and because honestly, someone said, like I've played both, and they're like, "Do you hear a difference?" No, I just hear more, possibly a buzz if it's a coil split, probably, and the coil tap because it only gets rid of part of the coil, leaves it humbucking in some way. All I know is there's less output, less volume, it's thinner, and that's okay. It's like lasagna. I don't care how it works, it's just good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to know how you made it.
Exactly. Great Vanzini in the house. Speaking of a guy who's got some cool guitars, Great Vanzini. JP Page 2 says, we got some nasty winds here, rain here in West Michigan all day. It's coming your way. Yeah, see, if it's been in West Michigan all day, that just means the forecast said we're supposed to finish up our rain by midnight. Not going to happen.
Mm.
No comment, Terry. For I actually do all my demos sober. Thank you very much. You can't tell. Christ, you cannot tell. That's because I got rid of one of those important brain cells a number of years ago. And what are you going to do? Except to say hello to Rising Havoc. See how I saved
what
that
brain
there,
cells
Tom?
are those, Ben? So I want to know if I got rid of the right ones.
Huh? What?
What brain cells are those? I want to make sure I'm getting rid of the right ones.
Well, see, apparently I couldn't tell you. Apparently. But I think they're back in here somewhere. It's same as if you fall and hit your head on the ice playing hockey.
I've been trying to kill brain cells so I can get down to the good ones.
Yeah, just thin out the herd. Let the strongest survive.
BC Rich said crazy winds in Western Maryland. He's getting same thing I'm getting. I'm just north of Maryland.
Yeah, beer helps do that too. That's right, Mayhem. I do quite the cocktail up in there.
The weak brain cells.
Yeah. Cold herd.
Bandini.
Ever tried a series mod on a tele? Now, see, this is the problem when newer people come in. I'm calling out Christo. Sorry. You may have been here a while, and I have a piss poor memory. But, see, now you're saying now try a series mod on a telly. Well, that just tells me I need to get another telly.
I'm okay with that.
You know what? Since I put a 4-way switch in, I don't know. Like, is it normally parallel and then an out of phase parallel is the other fourth one where I get my Stratty tone? Good question, Sandra. There's a little bit. We're down to the dregs of some 24G and mixed in with some Cindy 99.
I could go through all mine.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind getting another telly anyways. I want to maybe do like a Randy configuration with the humbucker in the neck and then just a single coil out back, do a blackguard like Keith Richards or something like that. But I'll leave it available for 6 strings. That's fine.
I'm curious, Ben. Are you
more series?
I know you're definitely probably like me. You're a both guy, but like if you have to pick, are you and Randy the same question? Are you guys more of a guitar or an amp guy? I know some people think that's a weird thing, but I'm more of an amp guy.
Guitar.
Like I'm fine with 1 or 2 guitars, but I'd like to have 15 amps. If it was one or the other.
I'm more guitar. I would say
guitar.
I've got 12 guitars and 4 amps. So
gotcha.
Yeah,
like there's 3 or 4 different amps I'd love to have, but I don't really have any desire to have any other guitars than what I have.
Now, to answer Ryan's question, there has been a guy on the old Kijiji here locally, and we could take care of two things at once. The guy on the local Kijiji's had a baritone telly for about a year on there. It keeps creeping down, and I think it's down to about, he'd probably sell it for $1,000 Canadian.
Nice.
So, and I've been eyeing that up. I'm not going to lie. Come out one night, just start playing a baritone telly.
What is that, about $87 US?
Yeah, about that. Probably. Yeah, we'll probably make that in Super Chats tonight alone, right?
60
sure.
maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, and that reminds me, and I say it every Sunday, I gotta talk to Mike there at Eastwood. I really need to contact him. And I gotta, Rob from Tesi Switch, he'll probably show up. And I still haven't messaged him from last week, which I should. And Sean Hurwitz, I need to message him. For a guy who can't leave the house, I'm really dropping the ball on the old communications.
Did you see
Same as there's somebody I was going to invite on as next week's guest, and you think I can remember who it is? Nope.
Not
a clue.
The only Eastwoods that I've been able to find down here in Des Moines are actually in a violin shop.
Nice.
Beautiful guitars, 335 type. Beautiful. But that's the only place I've ever seen one down here.
I like their, they do the 12 string with the tremolo because, you need that for tuning stability. So I think that's the 12 electric.
Whatever
12
makes
string.
it
It's
better.
like a 12 string Moss Right with a Maestro trem. And I was like, that's hideous. I need that in my life.
Yeah, I had a tough time picking between 12 strings when I was looking for one. And I just happened to go on to American Musical Supply, and they had this one, and that was the kind I was looking for that I didn't know I was looking for. I was actually between that and then an Ibanez, Artcore, I think.
Right. Yep.
Is what I was looking at, but this one had a new bone nut in it, and the other ones had plastic nuts. So that's why I made the decision on this one.
So for those who know, Mayhem lives about 20 minutes east of me. So he's in the retrieve lawn furniture from neighbor's tree kind of wins. And the Feel Button, he's been acquiring some gear because he got the Gibson amp too. I know that he's got the Falcon amp and I think a Mesa Boogie. And he got this Eric Johnson 54 Strat. I don't know much about them except it sounds awesome. Thoughts on these? Is that the one that came out in 2018? Or is that the older signature one? Because I've played the one with the F hole in it, the newest one, which they did do a screw up from the factory on the headstock on the logo. A lot of them were bubbling a bit, looked like absolute garbage. And when you're asking 2,600 Canadian for a Strat, that is essentially just a Strat without no backing plate, no screw holes for the backing plate, which was cool. Weird F hole, but sure. And 5 springs, so you're never going to use that trim if you wanted to, unless you've got the old Hulk Hogan biceps,
I'm wondering if he's talking about the Virginia Strat, because he said 54. The Virginia was supposed to be the copy of Eric Johnson's 54, which was not ash.
No, right. That was
different.
A black, possibly pine body?
Something in that family. Really light, but I don't know the exact wood.
Yeah.
The exact
I'd
wood.
say that'd be fine. Thanks,
RJ
Sandra.
has one. RJ Ronquillo has one of those.
Of course he does.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom.
You can do that, sir.
I think
we allow it.
I think someone sent that one to RJ, like Fender or someone. But I know he has one of those.
Thank you for all those things.
It's something weird. Sandra. It's in the same family. It's some weird wood though. It's like tulip wood.
The sassafras Strat.
Sassafras. That's it. It's sassafras.
See, the comments come trickling in. Yep. It's sort of like it's like the telethon. Let's let those numbers trickle on in here.
Yeah, the old hive mind. We'll find out. Someone in the chat will know. Terry got it. Thanks, Terry.
Yep, Terry and JP Page too.
Oh, JP, yeah, I missed that. He got that as well.
They both jumped in right at the same time for me, so I'll say it's a photo finish. They have the same timestamp of 8:41 p.m. here. Nice. Oh, and I do want to mention there's a new link down below in the chat this week, or not in the chat, the description, but it'll probably end up in the chat because of Sandra. Tensolo Music, there is an affiliate link down below. So if you're into some cool gear you can't really find in other places, check them out, including Huang's amps. Doesn't say that on the front of the amp. If you're, pale like me, you're going to think it says Wang's, but that's Huang's.
Huang's, yeah. Now, do they have, is that the place, does Tensolo have Sabadias, or they had
Sabadias?
Yeah, they had something. Either they had one of those.
Yeah, I think they do, or they're looking to get them. I think they do have.
I know they had at least one company that was, a very kind of boutique kind of thing like that. Not in price necessarily, but I mean, like, not based in the U.S. Kind of very small amount. Let's take a look. Oh, there you go. It's right there. Thank you, Sandra.
Oh, I don't need to be.
Let's see.
Dashboard.
There's
a way to share stuff. How do I do that share screen?
They've got some really cool stuff.
See, that's why I don't click the button for don't show this again. All right, how do I do that? No, I don't. Wait. No. We want a Chrome to. Aha! That's how you do it. See, I'm learning this stuff. Metalhead Hippie is just shaking his head at me. So if I go like that, then I go back over here. What do we got? Hey, look at that. It worked. All right. Cool. There we go. Tensolo Music, folks. What were we looking for? Sabadias?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Oh, maybe not. No. Oh, they got Weber speakers stuff. Good to know. I always like those Weber speakers. And they're a Vola dealer. Although, you could get that from Ike as well. But either way, and getting the Volas covered. They got the Dane Electros. I won't hold that against them.
I'll tell you
what. They got Acacia.
Cool. Go to that second one, that ATSA. They're like affordable, like under $300. They look kind of cool, man. I dig that.
This is weird because I'm not looking at StreamYard at all. Ooh.
That metallic. I like that metallic.
Oh,
like
that's
a gold
nice.
Gold top telly. Yeah,
like
that's
that
not a bad
on
price,
there too.
Right? These are US dollars, by the way, folks. And they got the finance. I don't know. Can you see my cursor doing this, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet. All right. So we can point stuff out. This could be a whole new segment here. All right. Oh, 12-inch radius. Gotta like that. Nickel silver frets. Alder body.
Wow, look at that action's a 1.5 millimeters at the 12th fret. That's a good setup.
That is nice. I don't think I've ever seen that listed in a guitar ad.
I haven't either. I like that.
That's
smart.
That's sweet. All right. And there you go, folks. You can just right down at the bottom there. There you go. Tell them Ben sent you. Or use the link that Sandra. I don't know. Sandra? I think it's Sandra. Or is it Sandra? See?
I've always said Sandra, but I have no idea. I mean, I don't want to be wrong, but I don't know. There's a cool, if you go back to the main, like if you hit new arrivals, there's a really cool Ibanez RG 450. I think it's like under $400. It's really cool though.
How about this Les Paul ukulele? Sure.
It's
got a bit of flame on it. Ooh, this.
There you go. There you go.
Look at that. That's a nice price.
I just love that 80s color. That pops.
That's totally 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. And it's got the color matching headstock and all that fine stuff. Oh, what am I doing? See, this is all new. Yeah, that's
new
cool.
Inlays, though, right? Didn't the old ones have shark fin inlays?
Yeah. I thought that was usually for the higher end model. You would think that'd be at least a 550 or higher for that. But
I thought so too. Yeah. Now on this one, they look like the way they have those adjustable hex adjustable bolts on them. They look almost like DiMarzios. Now, are they like the IBZ pickups or those actual DiMarzios?
You know what? I bet you they're the non-union equivalent, and I bet you that you'd probably want to upgrade that Floyd Rose as well, because that's at that price. I don't know. It comes with a Gator gig bag.
If you put a nicer bridge on that and switched out, like even if you're playing it like an 80s guitar, just leave the other ones in.
Pickups.
Switch out the bridge pickup and you'll be good. Exactly. What's the difference? I'm not playing that guitar for the neck or the middle pickup.
Jatoba white dot inlay. Okay, yeah. Poplar burl top.
Isn't Jatoba a type of wood?
You know, I like those Ibanez's. They're just not my.
Yeah, it's in the Pau-Ferro family. So quantum pickups. See, I don't like much stuff with quantum in the name.
Now, Randy, is it the neck or just the overall look you don't like?
Oh no, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just more of a traditionalist, I guess.
Well, this is your one.
I wasn't really big into the Crane guitars, I guess.
You know, people look at my guitar collection and they go, one of these things isn't quite like the other. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. All right, how do we?
I'm not a big fan
that's not what I want to do.
Toy guitars because I think they tend to be a pain, but you know, I think it's cool to have one of them. That would be like the one. That's what that is. That's the one.
Well, that's the only good quantum boner jams.
I mean, I had a Ibanez RG, and I mean, I liked it, and I got a lot of great tones out of it. But it's, you know, I'm 60 years old, so I grew up listening to music in the 60s and 70s, and that's where my taste really comes. And
let's go with Sandra, Tom, because she's not doing any phonetics for us again this week. So I think it is Sandra. That's not going to work, but I see now. I'm going to forget
Sandra. About. Otherwise, there would be a U in it for Sandra.
Hey, wannabe guitar gods here. See, I'm just scrolling through the chat here.
Now, are these Volas? Where are they made?
Japan or the U.S.
Okay, because I mean they look pretty nice. I was trying to figure it out. It says original price $29.77, and they have it for $17.95. Now, is that? I'm guessing maybe. Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering. Is it a blowout or is the $3,000 the MSRP maybe?
Hey, Gary's here as well. Good to see you, Gary.
Oh, this is a B stock guitar. There you go. It looks nice though. It's one of those Vola Aries.
I've only played a couple of Volas, a few Volas, I should say. One of which is now owned by Alex Radford, because he won it at NAMM 2019. And then when I went to Nashville NAMM, Vola was there. And Baker had his blue, I think it's blue or purple. I can't tell the difference. But his Vola was there after getting its pickup stud. And I specifically went over just because I wanted to play Baker's Vola.
Yeah, I've never played one.
Hey, Cushman, NYC is here as well. That sounds like a good idea. Well, I'm going to do that at about the top of the hour.
What was that?
Just the name Cushman, NYC.
Oh, yeah, I did that while I was going to the bathroom.
Oh,
so
multitasking.
Don't get demonetized.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we fought that, Tom. We fought the law and we won.
Oh, really? Cool.
It's how Monday night show went. We got demonetized, by the way, folks. Yeah, me and Tommy Boy just hanging out having fun for 2.5 hours, and we get demonetized. Yeah, so, yeah, I fought. I'm like, there's nothing wrong here, and they're like, you know what, Ben, you're right. There is.
You know what happened? Someone's watching.
Because you both partaking legally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm 100% legal.
Exactly.
As long as I stay on my own.
In Canada, so.
Yeah. I mean, the weird thing is, technically, Randy, I'm not allowed to go out on my porch, which is like the most serene, relaxing area. But technically, I'm not even allowed to go outside. But as long as I'm in my house, I'm fully legal.
What? All you have to do is just take it before you go out, and then you sit and enjoy it.
Exactly.
Robot Master Switch. Yes, I've always wanted to have an Explorer in the collection. I did for a while have a smaller Explorer. It's a Kent X Series Explorer, which is now owned by Absolute Mayhem.
Well, Tensolo sells Hendrix and Van Halen T-shirts, so that's a seal of approval to me.
Yep, that works.
Speaking of that, I went out and picked this up today or yesterday.
Oh, nice! I wanted to get that.
Oh yeah, man! It's I haven't read it all yet, but I picked up that and Peter Frampton's book, and then a book on Stevie Ray Vaughan too.
I heard that Frampton book's really good.
I'm about 60 pages into it, and you just don't realize how long he's been in the business.
Oh yeah,
how young he was when he got in.
Like a teen, like 15 or something.
Yeah, he was 15, like a teen pop star,
Yeah.
in like '66.
Well, wasn't that his who came to his mother and said, "We need your son to come on tour with us"? It was
Oh, that was Bill Wyman.
yeah. And then he got crabbed.
Yeah. I just finished that part before we started. So
Well, he was telling that story on Pete Thorne's when he was on his stream. You remember that, Ben?
yeah.
And
That was like the first story of the show.
yeah, that was my parents were in town that day, so that was I missed the one thing I wanted to see, but I'm really close.
Hey, I didn't have to go far to find my parents because my mom was watching alongside. Yeah, she was watching as well.
But it was my mom's birthday and she came up, so I watched on replay, but that was a good interview.
Want to shout out our Hungarian homie, Music Therapy Laz.
It's one of the reasons why I enjoy Les Paul so much.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I have I have 3 Les Paul style guitars, and only one of them is actually a Gibson.
No, I had a Gibson Studio Les Paul. And
I haven't actually owned a Gibson since 1992.
Personally, for what I had to pay for that and what I can get an Epiphone for, it's just no dispute, you know?
Yeah. My one real Gibson's an early 90s Les Paul Studio that I got like as a gift as a teenager, the first real guitar I ever got from my parents. And I needed cash, so I sold it. And last year, a buddy of mine found it when I was looking for it. And I thought someone had bought it out from under me, and he didn't tell me, and I was all upset. And 2 days later, he gave it to me as a gift. I got back.
No.
It was away from me for 20 years, and now I have it back. And I'll tell you, when he said, he goes, well, I'll let you play it. He was messing with me. And I started playing it, and like, that was the guitar I learned on. Like, it just felt perfect in my hand. And he was like, that's for you, buddy. And I was like, I started tearing up. I'm like, no, I can't take this. He's like, no, I bought it for you, man.
And that was the guitar that you had when you were younger?
I opened the scratch plate and I had scratched in my initials and it was there.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, so it's cool to get it back, the original one. And it's true, like your hand does get used to something. Like it fit like a baseball glove, like a warning glove.
We got a few more people joining in. We got Nick KB Music here. He says, sorry I'm late to the party. Quite all right. Metalhead Hippie asks, what do I think of the Epiphone Prophecies? I might have seen one at NAMM if they were there, but I don't remember because that night got blurry.
Yeah, and they're making them with SGs too, in the SG style.
Right. I remember the older ones, but I'm curious to check out the new ones. Once I'm out of print, hopefully they'll be here in the stores, so I can check one out. I also want to shout out, who else did I see in here? Jeez, skips it like Charles 75N. He says, sorry I'm late, but my fridge gave up the ghost. I just finished dealing with all that. Hello all. Dude, that sucks, but I'm glad you made it. Pack all that stuff in a bunch of Coleman coolers and you'll be okay overnight. Papa Blue asks, anyone heard of Philip Sace? Loud player.
I met Philip Sace last year, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He played for almost 3 hours, and then he spent the next hour and 45 minutes talking to fans.
Nice.
Super nice guy. I didn't even talk about guitars. We talked about meditation for 20 minutes.
Nice.
Oh, I met Frank Hannon from Tesla.
Oh, man, phenomenal player.
Oh, yeah, and it was funny. The ex-wife and she won tickets from a radio station to go see the show. Mm-hmm. And we went to that, and I'm sitting around, I'm listening. And this is when they came out to Into the Now, if you remember that. Didn't really get a lot of airplay, but anyway, I love the album. But yeah, I was sitting there at the table with the ex, and he just comes up and said, hey, I'm Frank. I play with the band. No, I'm Frank Hannon from Tesla, So I'm Frank. I play. And then the ex-wife, as soon as she was okay with everybody else, but she just almost pissed her pants when she met the lead singer.
That's funny.
That can happen.
And she's getting autographs on this drum head from this friend of ours who played in a band, and I don't know where that went.
Well, that's okay, man. It's a good story.
Robot has a couple of Gibbies. I used to hang them, but then I got sketched out and started keeping them. He's got a Melody Maker Explorer.
Ooh.
Very cool. And a Les Paul Jr. double cut.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
I like those double cuts.
I'm a single cut guy. I don't know. It's something weird about those double cuts. I don't know what
I
it
only
is.
have one.
Yeah. I've known a few guys that had them over the day, because they flip guitars that much, Tom. Over the course of the day, I've known several people that have had them, and they're already gone. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I just prefer the single cut for the juniors and the specials, and I do want a Les Paul special bad. That one I played, the faded white one. I want that one bad.
I played an old 50s or 60s, like a TV yellow one, and I was like, yeah, this plays nice. And then I looked at the tag and I was like, no, that's not worth it.
Mr. Radford.
To me, it wasn't, Alex had a great show today.
Everyone should check out Alex's channel. He had Mr. John Mancuda on earlier, and mark your calendar or go over to his channel and you can set the reminder because he already created it. I believe the 24th of November. See, that's why you set the timer. So it tells me, it'll be like, oh, what's going on my phone? I'm like, oh, apparently I'm doing a show. I will be on Alex's channel hanging out. And I'm sure we're going to talk about NAMM because if you think I do it the right way, that guy did it the right way.
So I got to tell you, I made my first attempt
from the Netherlands.
I made my first attempt at guitar repair today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I sprayed some deoxide on my switch on my Les Paul.
Nice.
But I took the plate off and put it back on, and it was cool.
Awesome.
Rising Havoc's talking about. So all I see is VOS tobacco burst. I'm good. Yep, that works. Doesn't matter what it is, because that tells you it's going to be kind of a satiny tobacco burst. So it's going to look nice and worn. And
they have a like a 90 or a 91 Gibson Explorer close to me for like $700. You know that place that
why haven't you bought it?
The place near Lancaster that what's his name? Who's the guy that is like the rack god of LA? Yes, Bob Bradshaw. Thank you. Right where his thing is in Lancaster. Well, it's Lidditz, but it's close to Lancaster in Pennsylvania. There's a place in there that also sells used gear and used guitars and stuff, and it's right in that complex.
I've been to Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
It's Clare Brothers Audio and Bob Bradshaw, whatever his new company's called.
Isn't Lancaster kind of getting into Amish country?
It is Amish country.
That's why I was there. I spent a vacation in Amish country.
They have little areas like Intercourse and Bird in Hand and, all these funny names.
So we have a question for the entire panel. Robot Master Switch, longtime listener, first-time caller, asks, question for the panel and the chat. Desert Island amp, for me, it's a Vox AC30. Well, you're not afraid to turn it up if you're on that desert island. What's the Desert Island amp for you gents? And there's Michael Sullivan.
For me, I think probably be the orange RT35 that I have right now. And a power supply.
Yeah, exactly. We're assuming there's power, right?
Well, you get a free Honda generator.
Well, it's a desert island, so you have to ask for the power.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to supply you with a Honda generator. I've rejetted to run off alcohol because I've also included a still on the island for you. So.
Oh.
Sean Zimmerman.
And a lot of corn mash.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, it's an island covered in corn.
Right? Yeah. It's this Caribbean island, but it's just covered in corn.
Yeah. Well, you could go with sugar cane. You could make rum,
Well, that is my preferred drink of choice.
Well, there you go. Well, see, you're on the Caribbean island. You have the sugar cane plantation set up, but unfortunately you're alone. But hey, that's okay.
Hey, and if I don't drink alcohol, so my share of rum could go into powering the generator.
That's right. That's just exactly. That's
So
see,
what's
that's
your
what I was thinking. You know, the still powers the generator, you know, and yourself if needed. But Tom's got another crop going on the other part of the island that, you know, that's okay too. Yeah, so Desert Island amp, Tom, what is it?
Oh, it's just got to be an old Marshall half stack.
You know,
Impractical, but
that's the mood I'm in. I'm gonna take the half stack because I don't need a full stack, but you know, I'm gonna go with a Jose modded Marshall.
nice.
Heavily Jose modded.
I mean, I would like, I have a 71 Marshall, but I'm going to take, I have a newer Metropolis head that will do anything from a JTM 45 sound to a Jose modded Marshall, and it's more reliable than my old Marshall. So if I was on an island, I guess that's what I would take.
Maybe I might change that. I have the Marshall Code 50. So just because you don't have to deal with any effects or anything, they're all there. And a direct line of sight to a satellite so I can use my phone.
There you go.
And yeah, well, see, it's a Desert Island amp. He didn't say anything about my Desert Island pedal board to go along with the Desert Island amp.
Thinking outside the box, Ben.
Always. I just snuck it in. I put it was on a raft. It just kind of drifted to shore one day, and I saw this road case, and I'm like, hey, my pedals are here.
Just like a message in a bottle.
Field Button says he has a 71 Super Reverb. Dang. See, now
nice
that goes
amp.
one further, because there you go. There's your half stack, but it's a combo amp.
That's an option. Can always just take my old twin reverb and take just put an LPD 87 in the back where the spring reverb tank is, hide it with
You can fit a lot of pedals in the back of an amp. Because that's how I used to carry my pedals around, was in the back of the amp. Pedals and cables.
Then I put my Luster in there, and I instantly have an AC30 as well.
Yeah.
I can go from Fender to Marshall to Vox all in one amp. Maybe that's what I'd do.
Well,
Brian Spalding has a 76
52.
Marshall half stack. Nice. Brody's Jam Cave with a 97 Fender Evil Twin. Nice.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah, no kidding. The Super Reverb's weighty. I'm just thinking I'd dislocate my shoulder if I tried to lift it. So that's what roadies are for.
And I was just thinking of just all the possibilities with the Code 50 that you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 99 presets, and you can adjust those any way you want. Plus, you can add more.
And you'd have all the time in the world because you're stuck on an island.
Or you just go for that uber clean Dumble as your pedal platform.
With the rum still and the
you know, like a
next
Stomp or a Helix or something like that.
Have you seen the I wouldn't call it a documentary, it's a YouTube, maybe you can call it a documentary, or a very long video, but it's about a guy that spent 1,000.
I'll see your Fender half stack and get a Fender Super 6, says Mars Man.
Those things weigh, that's like 2 twin reverbs, those things.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's six 10-inch speakers, right? Super 6.
Yeah.
Or the 612s.
610s or 612s? I think it's 610s.
I think so.
Or is it 212s and 410s?
Well, I suppose if you go with a 100-watt stack, you can maybe get that sound out to get rescued by a ship.
610s.
610s. Yeah, you need that, you know, because 2 more and you have an Ampeg fridge.
My buddy in high school ran one of those. He had a 72 Marshall 8x10, which were originally the bass cabinets, but a lot of guitar players used them. So he took out the old 10s and just put in, like, you know, replacement Celestion 10-inch, and man, 8 10-inch speakers. You would think 10s, but man, it's like running the full stack.
That was Richie's tone forever. You know, he ran the Fender with the 410s, and then he got a 410 Marshall cab. That was the 1923 cab or something.
I would tell you what my goal is now, Ben, but it's a little ridiculous. But I'm looking at, I want to do a 2 times wet, dry, wet setup. So, you know how they had quad stereos in the 70s where it was quadraphonic
sound?
I want 6-way sound. I want to have front, left, right, rear, left, right, front main, and rear main. That's what I want to do. And I have enough cabinets. I have enough power amps. I have enough tube amps The only thing I'm now working on is how could I cleanly run all of it with, you know, phase issues and all that other stuff. But I think it'd be fun if I
blowing
could.
breakers and
And you just sit right in the middle of it and it's all around you.
Oh, you know,
It's
I went to a Yes concert in Phoenix, and it's the first band that I've ever heard of that did it in the surround sound.
Mhm.
It was phenomenal.
It's awesome.
And it was an outdoor arena.
Yep.
Man, it was almost like you were on a merry-go-round. The sound was going all around you.
When I saw the Pink Floyd Experience, they did they had speakers set up at the back of the venue as well. And they were playing the Animals album, so half the show, all it was literally animal sounds coming through those speakers, because I guess when Pink Floyd originally toured the album, that was part of the concept, was the animal sounds would come through behind the crowd.
Yeah.
And for someone who's kind of hard of hearing, that's not sure they heard what the hell they just heard, because I wasn't sober either. And I'm like, do I hear a goat? Like, what the hell?
I have a story about that album, the Animals album. When it first came out, I was probably one of the first people in Des Moines. I ran out and bought it, and I went home, and of course I was partaking in some cannabis, and I'm playing it. It's super loud volume, and the dog starts barking in dogs.
Right.
We had a dog out in the backyard. I fucking go and yell at the dog to shut up. The dog's sleeping. I listened to that song 3 times before I figured out that it was on the record. That's how high I was.
Not even realizing the dog's barking at the same point in the song each time.
No, it took me 3 times to figure that out.
Nice.
It's one of my favorite albums of all time.
We've got T-Mitz73 here. Awesome to see you, man. Welcome, welcome. Wonder why they wouldn't do concerts in surround, especially when you're nosebleeds. Yeah, exactly. I never quite understood that. It just makes sense. Other than, I don't know, cable? No, well, yeah, cabling. That's the hard part. You know, cables. You can't just run cables along floors, and it's hassle.
Well, and you know, when they're designing these places and, you know, sports arenas and all that, they have conscience of mind when they're doing that too.
Yeah,
you can see all the speakers that they have up there just on a normal basis.
Yeah, that is the nice thing. A lot of venues are doing in-house PA systems up in the rafters. They can just lower down, which makes the road crews work a lot easier.
I know,
or they can just simply accentuate what they bring as well as what's in-house, right?
I know this is going to probably sound strange coming from me, but my wife and I, we went to see Neil Diamond down at the Iowa Event Center here, and we had nosebleeds. And
nice,
that old man sounded every bit as good as he did back in the '60s.
You know what's interesting? That guy, I always thought, like, let's be honest, Neil Diamond was and is huge, but
he was a great pop songwriter.
Would he have been as huge if he had fronted a rock band? Because he's got a rock voice if he wanted to. Like, he doesn't have the look necessary, or have had the look, but he's got enough of that rasp in his voice, but he has the vocal range that he could have been, I'm not saying a Freddie Mercury necessarily, but a Paul Rogers. Easy.
Well, I mean, I could definitely see that, but I mean, he was a songwriter first and foremost.
Yeah.
And nobody sang his songs better than him. And
he, as I recall, wrote songs for other people that were some big hits that I can't think of.
Red Wine was one of them. He wrote a couple of 3 songs for the Monkees.
That's what I was thinking of. No, Neil Diamond is not Canadian. I think he's from New York. Yeah, he's
from New York.
Super Gigawatt, kind of. Yeah, you're right. Unless you're partaking as well.
Everybody should be partaking.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, Mickey Studemeyer says he puts on a killer show. That's right. That too. He put, Yeah, I always thought that. Even when I was like a complete metalhead teenager, I always thought Neil Diamond was another Paul Rogers type. Like, he had that, or Burton Cummings, like that good combination of vocal range. Brooklyn. Thank you, T-Mets. Yeah, I thought so. Per token. Nice.
Okay, so this is a question for you guys. What album was it that just took your breath away?
Band of Gypsies.
Nice.
2 albums. I'll say, because it was kind of my introduction into rock beyond seeing music videos. And, of course, seeing music videos on TV, you're listening to it in a 4-inch speaker. But the first time, like on LP, I heard Pyromania. Like the first time I heard Rock of Ages, that, no Serenade, no Fire Brigade, just Pyromania. Come on. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm in. I'm along for the ride. I've been a fan ever since that line. And Kiss's, either it was Double Platinum or Alive. I think it was Alive, the first live album. My buddy put on, he says, check these guys out. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, this is Kiss. Because I'd heard of Kiss, but you never saw any music videos for Kiss until really Lick It Up. And that wasn't played a whole lot here initially. Like Kiss they weren't that big at that time.
Well, for me, the first one was Doobie Brothers, What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits.
Nice.
And Blackwater. So many songs on there. I bought that album 3 or 4 times over the years. Losing copies, people borrowing them, not returning them. But that was my first one. That was the first album I bought with my own money.
Growing up, always hearing music and stuff, but like I think it was those Kiss and Def Leppard, well produced, and I was like, oh wow, okay, this is cool. This isn't the kind of stuff my dad plays or my dad listens to or my mom listens to. Like, although my mom was listening to more folk, like she was a big Janis Joplin fan. Not a fan of Janis Joplin at all. Or Jefferson Airplane. No thanks. Not a fan.
So what about this one?
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say my second for me would be, well, I mean, there's a couple albums, but would be, if you want to say in general, Floyd. Just, when I first heard Pink Floyd, it's like I was used to hearing just guitar riffs, and like, when they talk about the classic wall of sound, to me that's undeniable. It's like these layers that when you hear it together. I still listen for about a 3-year period. I would listen to Floyd when I went to bed, every night. And it was like, sometimes for 6 months or a year at a time, it was the same album every single night. It's like burned into my skull.
Sure.
So that album I showed you, the first time I ever heard that album, I had taken a little piece of paper. And we spent the day out. We got back to my friend's house. He put it on. The speakers were up in the corners. And then the sun was coming down, and we were in his sister's room, and it was yellow, and the curtains were like yellow and gold and all that. Sun setting, and I'm playing this. And it just sounds like they're up over the roof on me, just singing down at me. And it was, that was
nice.
That was my first experience with that album, and it's been one of my favorites ever since.
Now,
yeah, I'm seeing a few comments in the chat. Now, I will say, when I heard Def Leppard and Kiss, I think Pyromania had just come out. Like, I was like 8, 9 years old type thing. And so just a kid, and it was, buddy that had a cool uncle. Like, gave him a bunch of albums. And then, a few years, I think it was right around the same time, Dad got a bunch of albums in some trade. He bought out a DJ or something. Who knows? So that brought in some albums. A lot of crap, unfortunately. Hey, Craig Vineham, good to see you, man. And then, again, another, I think it was actually, I knew the younger brother, but an older sister. She worked for my parents at a restaurant. We were giving her a ride home one night, and she's like, "Oh, do you want some old albums of mine?" I buy all cassettes, or she was getting into CDs possibly at that time. So she handed me a stack of vinyl, and in there was like AC/DC's "Let There Be Rock." And prior to that, all I had heard was basically the Who Made Who album. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And went down that road. So that was fun.
Now, Randy, did you know that, or I'm sure you know maybe, but have you ever heard, because I have not actually sat there and experienced them, but I think it was like right around 2000, 2005 when they re-released in the Court of the Crimson, I can't even say it, in the Court of the Crimson King, but they did, it was a brand new stereo mix, but they also did, it was Steven Wilson, he remastered it, and he did a 5.1 surround mix of that album. I have never heard that, like, in
no, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I would love to, but I've never heard about it.
I mean, I remember a big thing for me in the 90s was when Jimmy Page remastered all the Zeppelin stuff. And I just remember because I picked it up and went over to my cousin's place, and let's say, we're 20 at the time, and that because I was huge all through the 90s, big time into Zeppelin. And it's kind of funny because it was Zeppelin and the Black Crowes. Like, most people didn't listen to the Black Crowes after their basically second album, but I had their first 5 albums, before I kind of dropped off the earth with them and enjoyed them. So it's kind of funny how Jimmy Page toured with the Black Crowes later in life. And, that was kind of my road. And I come over, my cousin's just, a quasi Zepp fan. He's like, yeah, they're all right, type thing.
The Black Crowes.
And then I bring over the re-release. I got these re-releases. He goes, yeah, and you're such a fanboy. I bet they were remastered by Jimmy Page himself. And I was like, actually, they are. And we sat down and we burned one. And I think it was, I put on House of the Holy for him.
Hey, are any of you guys familiar with Walter Trout?
Oh, yeah, of course. He's phenomenal. One of the most underrated guitar players out there, I think.
So my wife, right after we got together, she took me down to this place downtown here to see him. And I had never heard of him before. I knew he's a blues player. And it's before I really started getting into the blues a lot. And I'm down there and he's just ripping it up. And he blew a 4x4 cab. And as they're still playing, the road crew's coming out and fixing this thing while the show's going on.
Nice.
And it was freaking awesome, man. And that guy wails. Also, going into the blues a little bit, are you familiar with Eric Gales?
Of course.
Oh,
I love Eric Gales.
I just bought the Eric Gales band CD. It's an old one.
I was following him since he played with his brother as a teenager. They used to wear suits and everything.
Oh, yeah?
He's amazing.
He is almost like Jimmy reincarnated in many ways. Like you say, young, wearing the suit, you think of Jimmy backing up James Brown,
I hesitate to say, because some people take it offensive, like, okay, he's a young black guy. You're going to say, no, it's not. He could be an old white guy. It doesn't matter. It's his playing, the creativeness, and like he does those same kind of flurries, those like real kind of pillowy, like soft sounds. And he'll be playing like a fast line, and then, he does these real kind of like neo-soul.
Like a roller coaster.
Influence. Yeah.
And they were saying that stuff about
if you listen to his recorded stuff versus the live stuff, it's night and day. Totally different arrangements. You're like, is this even the same song? And they're just drawing it with these open jams and really great
stuff. And they were saying that stuff about Frank Marino too, when he came out after Hendrix died, that he was channeling Hendrix.
Yeah.
And I think Frank Marino actually believed that.
It isn't even Eric's playing style in a lot of ways. It's just, I got that vibe from him. I don't know what it's the mojo.
Yeah, I don't think many people know that are not guitar players, or whatever, how amazing of a musician he is. So when he told a story once on one of his Rig Rundown interviews, and I think it was, who's the guy from Premier Guitar that the friend of yours, Perry, is it? Perry interviewed him, and Perry's a good interviewer. He did a really good job. And what Eric Gales said to him was, my friends in high school didn't even know I played guitar. And Perry's like, what? And he said, I think it was Perry interviewing him, but whoever's interviewing him said, what are you talking about? And he said, oh, well, and he's not, it's not a humble brag. He's just telling the truth. He won like all county for jazz drumming. He was the all-county jazz drummer, and he lived in some, fairly, decent-sized city. It's not like he was in a small podunk town. And he literally beat out all these other jazz drummers, and he's like, I'm just a guitar player who plays a little bit of drums.
Hey, Six String Brian's in the house. Good to see you, my friend.
It's kind of like my buddy here in Des Moines. He plays in this kind of pop funk band, and hardly anybody that he worked with knew that he played. He just went out and played because he loved it. And I happened to see him one night, and that's how I knew that he played. But he doesn't advertise that he's a guitar player, and he's a damn good one too.
Those are usually the best ones.
I have a friend like that. He got married. He had some kids, and he's two guys I know that are two of the most phenomenal guitar players I know. And one of them is an engineer for a medical devices company now. I mean, they're both super smart guys. They do very well for themselves, but just not the career they started. They both went to music school and got degrees in jazz guitar. And one of them now works for a medical devices company designing artificial hearts. He's an engineer. And the other guy's a software programmer.
And they still find time to play guitar. That's awesome.
They're still phenomenal. They're still phenomenal guitar players too. But they just.
And I do want to throw it out there as far as guys that could play Hendrix very well, and someone who did change the scene in many ways was Stevie Ray Vaughan. Nailed him, and I can say that I didn't know about Stevie until the last couple of years of his career really well, but my dad was one of those guys. He's tuning into Austin City Limits. All of a sudden, on the phone with his friends, have you seen this Vaughan kid? This is next. They were weird. Now, when we go out into the bars next week, we have to up our games because of this guy.
Well, and I remember
it was just that ripple effect. And
I remember Eric Clapton interview after playing with him, and probably after his death, but he was saying Stevie never got lost. Yeah. He never forgot to get back to where he got to, where he started.
And he doesn't look like a technical player that knows the. You can tell people they know every note on the fretboard, and it's obvious. But it's Stevie was playing just by listening, like in Eric Gales, but just found every note. And if he didn't find it, he'd bend into it in a tasteful way. Hello, Roy Batty. And we did have another question. Robot Master Switch asked, do you guys think that being a multi-instrumentalist, there we go, nailed it. That means I can have more fun. All right. Good. We can still continue the live show. Is it rare? Me saying that was rare. No. It's just you don't hear about it because those are your more artistic, savant-y. If somebody's not taking care of these people, a lot of times they're homeless. You know what I mean? People I know that play more than one instrument, they play 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And if they can do that, more power to them. But I mean, it's not a big step to go from playing guitar to bass.
No, but I'm just thinking of buddies that play guitar, drums,
like Jacob Cole, those kind of people.
Yeah, horn.
Well, my stepson Alex he's just gifted. My wife's taken him to play for veterans at some veterans hospitals and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And he's like almost virtuosic on the piano, keyboards, and he can play guitar. He thinks he can sing, but not so good. But anyway, he's phenomenal, and he doesn't really play anybody else's music. He just plays his own, and it sounds phenomenal.
Sure.
That's what I mean. She writes all her own songs. She's like 14 or 15, taught herself guitar, taught herself to play piano, sings, like perfect pitch. Doesn't understand why everyone can't sing perfectly and why it's not easy for everyone. Doesn't get that,
Right.
Oh, she's got perfect pitch?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would love to have that.
Within a month of starting to teach herself to play guitar and piano, she started writing her own songs. Just like one of those people that, just a gift.
I'm thinking of a guy I grew up with. Let's say he's 5 years older than me.
Okay.
He's finishing up high school, loitered around the music store, probably played guitar. Let's say he plays guitar. He kept bugging the guy who ran the store because he was a pedal steel player. but they didn't offer lessons. Want to learn pedal steel, want to learn pedal steel, want to learn pedal steel. Got a pedal steel. So finally, showed him a couple of licks, and then he's like, I want to get into this seriously. And so my dad recommended to him, go to a trade school outside of high school so you have something to fall back on. So, he took 2-year trade, learned to become an electrician, got a job at a local nuclear power plant about an hour away. So, he's getting paid. And within, let's say, 1.5 2 years of him finishing school, I'm taking a furlough from work. Why? Oh, I'm touring Japan. What? Because he's playing pedal steel with a high up-and-comer from Western Canada. What was his name? Jason McCoy and the Real McCoys? I think that's what they were named. Toured with him for a number of years. Still from a town of 200 people here, outside of my hometown.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's like 2 or 3 years later, and I see a 68 Mustang fastback cruising through town. Basically like a Shelby. And I was like, what the hell is, who's got that in this small town? And Dad's like, oh, you saw, Randy? I remember his last name. I don't want to say his first name. Andy. You saw Andy tooling around. You got to go because he bought that with the money he made off the first tour. First time I went around the globe. And just toured hard. And then now he just picks up gigs or he gets flown down to Nashville to play a part. And you never hear about these guys because what you're playing on, the budget still allows for them to fly in a few people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I saw Great Vincini's headed out. See you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in.
Amazed too. Like I have a friend who works for a guy that owns like a large corporation, and there's this different level that it blew my mind. Like this guy will take a private jet just to go for an afternoon he lives in Nashville, and he'll fly from Nashville just to go to Mika Model Auctions for 4 hours and take his jet back. There's this, and he was talking about there's this threshold that people hit. And once they hit this threshold of financial success, it's like it goes into the stratosphere. Like this guy now, his level of income is such that he can't lose money.
Right.
So
well, it's
weird
with
thing.
Andy, I wanted to follow up, which I forgot. Not only learning pedal steel, possibly the hardest instrument ever in a matter of 5 years.
Oh, right.
He was the type of guy. So they're out on tour. They hit a pawn shop, buys a saxophone. I don't know if anybody's tried to ever play a saxophone, but just figuring out where to place the mouthpiece in your mouth alone is, a lot of work. Buys the saxophone, gets back to the hotel room. They're staying with a roommate. His roommate says, hey, I got to call my daughter. It's her birthday. Starts a phone call with his daughter. 5 minutes in the phone call, Andy's already playing Happy Birthday on the saxophone. Never picked one up in his life.
Nice.
I tried playing saxophone for about an hour and a half once. All I can make it do is sound like a cow.
I'm a strong
cat that's dying.
I'm a strong believer. I think anyone can get to a certain level of proficiency on an instrument. Technical proficiency if you just put the time in. That's all it is. You got to put the time in. But it's, most people don't want to put that level of time in.
And it is all about desire.
Yeah. That's what it has to be. But
how do you learn a saxophone in 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
I've known people though. I have a good friend. He lives in Florida now. He went to he got a degree in guitar from Berkeley. But because his grandparents were going to pay for it, and he didn't even want to go to college. And he's like, will you pay for Berkeley? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, I'll go there. But it was probably 6 months or a year into playing, and he's playing Van Halen songs like it's no big deal, solos and all. 2 years into playing, the Steve Vai album, Sex and Religion, came out. It came out on, whatever it was, a Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. That Saturday, I went to go see him play a live gig, and he knew the whole album front to back with all the solos. He was 16 years old at the time, and he learned that entire album in 2 days. Some people are just built different. Yeah, I asked him how he did that, and he said,
on the spectrum.
And he was half stoned when he was learning it. And he said to me, he goes, listen, I get this all the time. And I'm like best friend. I've known this guy for, over 30 years now, or almost, about 30 years. And he was like, he would always say to me, he was like, dude, it comes easy to me. Like he would almost be embarrassed.
Yeah, I do have a theory about that.
Somewhere on the spectrum for that. That's the only, and let's be honest, I think we're all on the spectrum. It's just those people that are, let's call them normal, yeah, you're just in the middle. And then there's a lot of stuff on either side.
Like my son, you'll never do the math in your head that my son can do. You just won't. No one will unless you're like a savant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he can do it in his head as quick as you can type it into whatever calculator you're using.
And I think what it comes down to is some people just born to think musically.
Yeah.
This buddy of mine down in Phoenix, Jimmy Tapp. Oh, by the way, they've got a CD out, Kings of Dust. You should check it out, man. It's really good. But I had him over one night, and he, we're outside on the deck, by the pool, and he's playing the drums on the table, and we're listening to Zeppelin inside, and he just thinks musically. And I think I'm getting to that point. I'd like to get to that point, but I think you have to have that musical thought in your head in order for that to happen. And some people have to work at it, and some people it just comes naturally.
Yeah, I mean, I remember.
Be safe, Joe. Be safe, Joe. He just got a tornado warning on his phone.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't remember what's worse, the watch or the warning.
Hey, thanks for putting that up, Tom.
Oh, sure. I mean, the rate at which he learned, it's like you can't
See
even
you,
get
Super Gigawatt. Have a good one, man.
Good for you, man. You got a gift, but it's like I would have
to use it, please.
I would have to put in 20 hours for probably every 20 or 30 minutes he put in to learn something.
Exactly.
That's how quick he learned. He would listen one time to a track, and he pretty much had all the parts down, and then he'd listen 2 or 3 times, and he'd have the solo. And that was it.
Whereas I just blindly go through, like, there's enough. My biggest fear ever is jamming on stage and someone says, take the lead, because I have no idea what key I'm playing in. Ever.
Right.
Ever. Like, I have an idea. Like, I can look at the chords and I might be able to figure out some lead work based off it. Like, if it's a 3-chord song, as far as I'm concerned, I have a 1 in 3 chance of soloing in the right key.
Yeah.
Unless it's a 1-4-5 blues, barring that. But any
Always
song that's not a
Always
1-4-5 blues, which is every cover tune ever,
mm-hmm.
damn if I know what key I'm playing.
You're pretty good. A minor pentatonic, and you're pretty good.
Well, there is that, but if I know that's what key I'm playing in. But like, for instance, I got up on stage and jammed a song. The song was only 2 chords, F and C. I had a 50-50 shot of guessing which key to play in, and I guessed wrong. Sounded great the first 3 notes, and then the 4th one, nope. And then the 6th one, nope.
What you're doing. You're just playing outside.
Oh, yeah, it was beyond flat B. Yeah, it's not good. Not good. Yeah.
Always start with a bended note. That way you can just bend it right to the right pitch, and then you know where you are, right?
Well, the old saying is that you're only a half a note away from the right note.
Exactly. There's a statistic, too, scientifically, where the human ear does not start to recognize that you're playing out of key until it hears 8 notes. So you can throw random notes like a mother in, as long as you hit chord tones or, key center tones, once every, bar.
That's the other thing. Yeah, the feel button, as long as you're on time, too.
Yeah. Well, listen to old Van Halen solos, man. He plays notes that are not in the key center at all, but the swing and the feel and the rhythms there. I'm a big believer if the rhythm and the feel is there, you can play almost any notes.
There's not that many notes to choose from either.
Exactly.
See you, Sandra. Have a good one, darling. Thanks for tuning in.
It's all about how you put them together.
Yeah, for
sure.
Just
land on the root. No, yeah, that's the big thing, is resolving.
Yeah.
I know what that means. You got to resolve it to finish it. How I do that or what that entails, no clue. But I'm aware of that phrase, and I know what it sounds like. I know you got to hit a certain note to finish up what you're doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. I usually try to just get back to the root, or
I know for me,
just do a bend, do a pedal steel bend of some kind to go from a minor to a major.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me personally, I'm going to see either like a major minor scale, which I see as all one scale. It just matters what part of what key you're in. I don't see it as a minor. I see it as a 6 of the major. But anyway, that's another thing if you want to go down that.
That's
I am not.
You
went to school for that kind of stuff. I took lessons for a year, and then my teacher just told me, he goes, dude, just go out and join a band.
My thought is I'm of the mentality of like learn it and forget it. So when I look at the neck, I see the major scale all over. I see the pentatonics all over, laid over top of it, like 2 different colors in my head. And then I know I've got a structure. And to me, that's your framework. And the rest of choosing what notes you is just like a sculptor. You put on the clay wherever you want. That doesn't matter, but your framework's all the same.
The feel button's cracking me up tonight. Got next for looking for resolution or something.
Or something. Nice.
And I didn't see Blackjack Guitar Nut sneak in here, but apparently he did. Slide. Yeah, you know what? I can hit as many bad notes as good notes with the slide lately. My slide playing is pathetic.
Like T-Mix, only 12
I can
notes.
hit all the notes, but I just don't know when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big T-Mix. I'm a big Zappa fan. Huge Zappa fan.
Zappa's, you know, as weird, I should say. It's kind of, Zappa fans are like Deadhead fans where they don't listen to anything else. I
didn't for a while. I got into Zappa when I was probably 14 or 15. That's all I would listen to for like a year.
Yeah, I've got a couple of buddies. That's all they ever like. They enjoy other bands.
Yeah.
But if you look at their record collection, 75% is Zappa.
So this guy I knew was a bass player, his older brother, and he still does. He lives in like a, modest regular style home, but he has the largest collection of music, like physical media, that I've ever seen one person have in their house. Like every wall in his house is lined with racks, and every single one of them is filled with CDs. I think he counted upwards of 50, 100,000 or more. Yeah.
Oh, I believe it, because if you want to get the whole catalog of certain artists, like, I don't know what he would be up to now, because I don't think he records albums, or has in a few years, but Neil Young, I remember when I was young, hit 50 albums.
Well,
because he was bringing out like 1 to 2, sometimes 3 albums in a single year, because some of them were kind of concepty, but you could bang that out in a weekend or a night. Because it's just, I'm going to play for an hour. There's an album.
Yeah. That's when he was trying to get out of his contracts, when he was doing all that stuff.
He had to do so many albums. Yep.
Yeah, in the Ditch series of those 3 albums that he did, and he just basically put out the worst shit he could fucking play, so he could get out of this contract.
Hey, Milt, good to see you, man.
But
plus, a lot of his albums were only 6 or 7 tracks, because you had 11-minute songs on them and stuff, right?
Well, it's
so you think if you write enough material for 5 albums, if they're all long, yeah, that's like 8 albums instead of 5. It's great.
Yeah, and then Cinnamon Girl was a longer song, and but Down by the River, until I started reading the lyrics, I didn't realize how dark that song was.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or oh jeez. It's gonna bug me if I don't think of it, so I gotta look it up. I don't care what's new in Apple Music. Apparently I haven't been in here in a while.
Ben, are you looking for the song referring to Kent State? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Ohio?
That's dark too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was news.
It is a protest song.
Yeah. I guess it's not really
N.
When he wrote that basically the same day that happened, or the day after when it was reported.
Oh yeah, Change Your Mind.
Right. Change Your Mind. Okay.
Yeah, that's like 2 chords for 7 minutes, and then a chorus, and then 2 chords, and over soloing. It's just, I remember Richie telling me when he got his wisdom teeth out, he just listened to that song on repeat like 4 times, and the whole procedure is done.
Well, Down by the River was the first song that I ever was actually able to play along with the recording. And it's real simple chord changes, E minor 7th and then A.
On this Canuck kid, Jacob DeRaps.
He's insane.
Not enough. No, I'm not familiar.
Oh my gosh. I think he is one of
I'll be back in a minute, guys.
Sure.
Jacob, one of the closest. I mean, he's a phenomenal player in his own right, but he can get close to that EVH swing and feel.
Okay.
Maybe, and I hate to say this, but maybe closer than anyone I've heard. He's insane. He's phenomenal.
Look out. The man, the myth, the legend, with a new song that premiered on CGS Mike's show today. It's Aaron from Albus Band.
What's up, Aaron?
Nice. Got all kinds of folks tuning in. We got 44 people watching, and it's different people. I think we have 44 different people who are watching them that started the show.
Oh, cool. But I mean,
I'm
he's
almost convinced of that.
he does covers of all the old Van Halen stuff, and he nails it. But you should check out. He's got a video where it's something to do with the Sunset Sound plugin that just came out. But he plays this Van Halen stuff dry with no plugins, and his sound is it's that sound. It's spot on.
Roy Batty says 44 moderators. No, just a few of the long-term people that have become moderators over time. Or Crowbar, he's just right on it. So many wrenches in here. I thought I walked into Harbor Freight.
If you were in Harbor Freight, though, all those wrenches on the screen would have breaks in them, and they would have really bad welds where they re-welded the breaks. And
I've never been to Harbor Freight, but let's just say their reputation precedes them. They are the Guitar Center of tool stores.
Let's just say the QC is really bad. You can get, if you just need a tool to use it once, perfect.
Yeah.
But if it's a tool that lasts, no, not perfect.
Yeah.
It's like a Walmart machete. I bought a machete at Walmart once because I thought it was funny that you could buy a machete for $5, and a 5-year-old could have pulled it off the shelf. It was not behind glass, anything. It was up on a shelf. Just pull it down, and it's in plastic, a metal machete. So I was out, I had like a bunch of acres at the time where we lived, and I'm out just hacking stuff, and I bent the machete within like 15 minutes. Like, whatever, $5 machete,
Well, there we are. Oh, we're up to 48. Look at that. Just like that. Awesome.
Crowbar said he gets his Allen wrenches there. That seems like a safe thing, but I mean, bigger tools, it seems like the QC from the factories they get them from, not so good.
Yeah. They're the Dollar General for hardware. I don't think I've been to a Dollar General either.
Machetes sold next to the hockey mask at Walmart. That's about right.
Nice.
I think Walmart started selling guns again, too, because they realized how much money they were losing.
Daraps has the 70 Sunset Strip sound Whiskey A Go-Go vibe. Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
He's been on
Actually, a guy from this area who went to school with a friend of the channel, Mark Taft, Milt Taft, to know him as well.
Yeah.
He's in the chat here. Our buddy, one of the Hanthorn boys.
I'm back.
I can't remember his last name. I got to know him pretty good. He actually played briefly in a band with Richie, but right out of high school, he moved out to LA, and he ended up spending a fair amount of time. He played in the house band at the Whiskey for quite some time, and did some recording for Alice Cooper, but I don't think the stuff ever made it out. But
the Whiskey's a pretty big achievement.
Yeah, that would have been in the early 90s too. So you still had to be some hot stuff. And Alice Cooper doesn't bring in any slouches to do any session work, that's for sure.
No, he sure doesn't.
And now he's living back here, as far as I know. I haven't seen him in a few years. Ironically enough, the world of small worlds, I ran into him somewhere. Where the hell was it? Mark was telling me he was back in town. Mark got in touch with him because he was buddies with him back in the day. He came out to a music festival that we produced, and Richie saw him right away and went, "Hey, buddy." And I went, "You guys know each other?" And Rich is like, "Yeah, he was in Drowning Not Waving for a while." I was like, "Wow, okay." And yeah, great name for a band, Drowning Not Waving. Love that name.
I like that.
And he hung out, and then he ended up moving into a townhouse next door to my girlfriend at the time. So I'd always see him whenever I was over there. So that was cool. Zach Thong in the house. Good to see you, Zach.
So what do you guys been listening to lately, as far as music?
Nothing.
Women and children first.
Nice.
Oh,
Phil Button says, if
McDonald
anyone's
had
looking for some slouch work, give me a call. Nice. Actually, I haven't been listening to much music unless anything's been played on a YouTube live stream. So whatever Steve from Boston's been noodling, RJ. Although I did hear this newest song from Aaron from Elvis Band today, and it was pretty good.
My brother-in-law sent my wife this link to Whiskey Myers.
Okay.
Kind of like a country rock Leonard Skinner type band. We were listening to that yesterday, and that sounds pretty good, actually.
That's cool.
See, Les really wants me to start a Discord server, and I just don't have the time, Les. I know my sister because she'd probably just run it, and we haven't seen her in here tonight, and that's fine. She's probably busy with the girls, but we got the Facebook group, and that's not just for guitars. And you're a knucklehead, and I'm pretty sure we're friends on Facebook, so you just pop it in there. Even tag me. That's okay. I like chicken soup.
I'm trying to think of the name of this kid. I've been watching this kid. So I saw an interview with what's his name? I'm having a blank. Who was the guitar player? You never hear about him anymore. He did the Saturday night or Sunday night, whatever night it was in San Francisco. He did it was 3 guitar players, like classical guitar, and it was Paco de Lucia and
Tommy Emmanuel.
Al Di Meola was the other guy I was thinking of. I can't remember the third guy, but it's Al Di Meola. But Al Di Meola was in an interview like a couple weeks ago, and he said, you got to check out this young guitar player, which I would have never heard of. He's an Italian kid. He's like 15 or 16 years old. Now, it's not my style because it's very technical, but the kid plays with his fingers like a classical guitarist, but he shreds on electric with that. Now, the thing that impressed me about him, because shredding doesn't impress me. I've seen people do... Michelangelo Badio pretty much did everything you can do with 2 hands like this. But what impressed me is if you're into like fusion and jazz, this kid at like 15 or 16 years old, whatever he is, I think he's in his 20s now. I first saw him, he was 15 or 16. I think he's 23 or 24 now. But, still,
there you go.
But his improvisation. Oh, there, it was John McLaughlin with him.
And also to answer Roy's question, you can join the group. If you're a guitar player and a friend of the channel, you can definitely, you don't have to be Canadian to join.
I can't remember his name, though. I'm trying to figure out what his name is here. But both Steve Vai and Al Di Meola were like, this kid blew our mind. But what impressed me was not his chops, is that he's improvising at a really high level for such a young player.
See, I can click on buttons. That's what I'm good for tonight. See, I just wait for like you said, the Hive experience here, California Guitar Trio.
Yeah, I have to look up his name. The other artist I've been listening to a lot, and I can't remember her name now too either. I'm like drawing blanks. What's her name? It's a female artist she's either from Australia or New Zealand. I want to say she's from Australia, but she was supposed to tour the U.S., toured briefly, and then
Is that the bass player?
No, she's a guitar player. She's a solo instrumentalist.
Oh, really?
Like 15 instruments, but she'll have like 2 keyboards. She has a whole guitar rig. She's got drum stuff. Tosh, that's her name, Tosh Sultana. She's a woman. Like she's only about like 4'10", really tiny, but she sets up loops and she plays like this. If you like real heavy kind of layered music and stuff, but she's very melodic as well too. But she sings, plays piano, drums, bass, guitar. She plays a couple wind instruments, and she'll do all this live. And she composes the music live in front of like 20,000 people.
I think I've seen somebody like that, but she didn't play with Jeff Beck, did she?
No. That's
I think. Anyway, she's phenomenal, but.
That's Jeff Beck's bassist. Yeah.
Good to see one of my favorite names in here, Jamie Ray Hawkins in the chat. Good to see you, brother.
What you're thinking of?
I see what you're doing there, Laz.
Yeah, I saw Al Wilkenfeld with Jeff Beck at Ronnie's.
Here you go, Laz.
She was amazing.
Woo.
But I'll find a link for you guys. And the other guy I've been checking out is a guy out of LA. I think he's originally from I want to say from South America. His name's Art Menet. I can't even say it. It's Menezes. I'll put it in the chat. But Menez, I think RJ played with him when they were out in LA once, but he's phenomenal. He was just in Maryland playing yesterday, I think. I missed it. I wanted to go. But if you've ever seen, there's a YouTube channel called Anitra's Dance. It's the number 1 Anitra's Dance, but the woman's name is Anita. I don't know why it's Anitras, but it's Anita's her name. I met her at a show, and she travels around with her husband. They're retired. They go to like blues rock, kind of jam rock shows. They record them in 4K, get the permission of the artist, and they post them to YouTube. They're doing a service for all these musicians, but you can see phenomenal live shows in 4K. So I'll put his show in the chat. but he's just a really good guitar player that's been traveling around playing now, doing small clubs and stuff.
Do you guys get Access TV?
I don't have any cable, so I don't.
Oh, this is satellite, but anyway, we had this Guitar Heroes thing, and Sammy Hagar was one of it. But they had Gloria Estefan's daughter on there playing guitar on a Santana song, and man, she wails.
That's cool.
Then of course they had all the other, other ones on there.
Jeff came.
Bobby Krieger and.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so apparently Roy Batty was having a problem with the Facebook group link. I just tried it. Seems to work for me. So stick it on the old chat vu.
See if I have a.
What am I doing again? I was looking at this. Oh, we got Islander Winder here. Apparently, I'm posting a lot of Crowbar stuff up there. It's okay. And Jimmy Ray Hawkins, Marty V's still here. He's got to be an insomniac.
Randy, I think the coolest thing about that
4 in the morning.
Sultana too is that she literally started 4 years ago on YouTube playing out of her bedroom in Australia, and now like that original video that she put up has 87 million views 4 years ago.
Okay, we don't need a Discord.
I mean, it can be done organically still if you're talented enough,
Chicken soup.
Oh, that looks good. What time's dinner?
Yeah, no kidding. I'm like, ooh, yeah. I don't know what I'm going to have after this. I kind of effed up dinner tonight. So when the wind blew open, I was in the middle of cooking dinner and stuff burned, and I went, and what was kind of already cooked, I finished cooking. So we had a bunch of like Italian meatballs and then some cheese, bread, butter, some barbecue sauce. Just make some meatball sandwiches out of it. It was all good. No sides. Why? Because there's no women here. So I didn't bother cooking the veggies or any pasta.
You know what I do? I don't even buy vegetables now. I'm so bad because I have like that green drink. It's powder that like is like 6 months worth, and it's basically it's not processed. It's basically like compressed, dehydrated, green vegetables, and it comes out like this almost black stuff, and you drink it and it tastes god awful, but that's your vitamin and nutrients from vegetables for the week. So I
usually just
one awful thing
for a bag of frozen veggies around, and you just throw, just take a measuring cup, throw some veggies in it, fill it with water, throw it in the microwave for a minute and a half, done. There's the side.
I have so many allergies. I'm very specific about what I eat, so I pretty much try to eat it's almost a vegan diet. It's a keto centric diet, but I eat chicken and fish for protein, and it's not an ethical reason. It's not because I don't like beef. I have an allergy to mammal based protein.
I've been doing all the cooking the last few weeks, so a lot of chicken this week because one of Ma's friends dropped off a stir fry, various kits, and I looked at it and I went, well, we got the rice and we got the mixed veggies, a lot of peppers and stuff, which is awesome. And so I was looking at this and I'm like, this is going to just be bland. This is not good. So I did the right thing. And when I chopped up that chicken, I just gave it my own special take on the seasoning. So
when
at first Dad's looking at it and Dad's like, this is rice. He hates rice. And he's like, vegetable stir fry. He's from East Coast Canada, meat potato guy. And the chicken, I'm like, try it. Mm-hmm. He tried it. And he looks at that chicken. I'm like, oh yeah, because I did it like pan fried. It was boneless, skinless chicken. But I'm like, I gave it full on some of my barbecue dry rub I got shipped up from the deep south.
So did you slice it and put the rub in there?
No, I diced up the chicken, pan fried it in olive oil, which I pre-seasoned the olive oil first. With a variety of spices, mix it all in. So it's almost,
you have to.
You gotta do that.
And then,
when I see people cooking chicken with no spices, I'm like, you live in black and white. Like you don't have color in your life because how can you cook with no spices? Like I'm at the store buying all these different spices, and this dude's looking at me. He's like, "You're gonna go through all those?" I'm like, "Yeah, I will."
I add salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and cayenne pepper pretty much to every recipe. Because that 5 little just together is just a little in the right direction.
I throw in the paprika also in most of my rubs, and sometimes I'll throw in some brown sugar depending on what it takes, you know.
And always keep a bottle of Mrs. Dash, because that's just as a man a hodgepodge of little bits of this and that. You don't know what it is, but it's neutral and it makes everything better.
You know what I dig too?
Salt for me.
Yeah, I don't like the ones where it's 15 things, whatever. I'd rather mix it myself. But I do like the ones that save you a little bit of time, like garlic salt. If you buy real straight up garlic salt, it's literally just powdered garlic and salt instead of having to get both containers out.
Yeah.
I just do the powdered garlic.
Yeah. If I'm using olive oil, it's powdered garlic. If I'm dry rubbing it in, I'll do the garlic salt so that the salt will pull the garlic in while it sits in the fridge. But for straight to the pan, I agree. I just go garlic right to.
Well, because I throw seasoned salt in almost everything, so I don't, so I just do the powder.
Welcome to Cooking with Ben and Randy, and Tom is here just to eat the food.
Hey, we're breaking down barriers because everyone thinks of that undernourished, can't fend for himself guitar player. And granted, until a few months ago, that was me.
Something tells me Randy knows his way around the kitchen very well. Just the way he talks about it.
No, it's really just barbecue. For barbecue, I just season the meat, and then in the winter I'll fry stuff up in olive oil.
Quentin. Oh, you can't hear it. Ketchup.
Now that's an entrance.
The Ketchup King of Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah. All I know is I was in a live chat earlier today, and Quentin James saw Brad the guitarologist jump in. He goes, "Here comes trouble," and the guitarologist's response was, "That's the pot calling me kind of black."
Yep. Brad's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
I like that Brad will speak his mind, and whether you agree with him or not, that's your choice. But he's putting his money where his mouth is, because that's his livelihood, and he's speaking his mind. So I really have to give.
Well, he mentioned that in the chat. He said that his video he put out yesterday has already cost him 1,500 subs, and he figured it will cost him 3,000.
By a channel his size, it's costing him real money. You know, so I really have to salute him. That I'm not saying if I agree and it doesn't matter. I'm saying it's impressive to me that he's a person of conviction at that level. You know, Food
I'm
Network.
going to try red onion and pear. That's a combination. Okay.
What do you do as far as Randy? You like onions, or you have a certain type? I'm a big Vidalia onion guy, but I'll take any.
I like red onions. I like red onions.
The guitarologist, Roy.
I can't do it because my wife is spice intolerant, but I like to put like jalapenos and
my whole family is spice intolerant. I grew up on East Coast / British cooking, so boil the hell out of it till all flavor's gone, and then boil it for another 5 minutes. But fortunately through the YouTubes, I've been able to travel around a bit, and I've discovered, seasoning, and I cook as much. And so I've been bringing it in. And what was the other thing I was going to mention? A little shaker of onion flakes. I throw that in everything.
I just love when they melt right in.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to do. Boom, boom, boom. They're there. Boom. And you can pick it up at the dollar store, for Christ's sake.
And, I'm a single parent, 2 teenage boys, so I got to get a lot of food, and I got to get it out quick because they get hungry.
So this is what I do with the roast. I mean, I sear it with what I sear it with. But before I do that, I slice up garlic and poke holes in it and stick it in there and infuse it. Man, that is so good. Any kind of roast. Pork, beef, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I cook every meat gets cooked the same with the same flavor palette for the most part. What works on one usually works. I'm basically pan frying, mimicking a barbecue most of the time. That's the way I see it. At least I'm not using Crisco or lard or something. I use the olive oil. I try to cut it down because, my parents aren't young or perfectly in shape or health. So I do what I can. Hey, Mike Hanford, good to see you, my
Well,
man.
to be honest with you, whenever you cook anything with lard, it makes it taste better. Bad for you, but it does make it taste better.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's weird.
Like the
My
bacon
mom-
grease does not get thrown out in this house, Randy. I'm cooking
Oh,
steak
no.
that night. If we cook bacon in the morning, oh, steak done in some bacon grease. Oh, it's a heart attack, but it's so good.
I make my French toast in bacon grease.
There you go.
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
vanilla and oh shit, what else do I put in?
And if
Oh,
anyone
right.
thinks this is gross, I can tell you, my parents' generation, they used to take the bacon grease and just slap it on a slice of toast.
Yeah. Well, it's
Oh,
interesting
it's
though.
better than butter.
That's healthy.
My mom's family, they were farmers. Like I said, they were. I never found the city. I texted my mom. She didn't get back to me. But they were, farmers, in the Midwest. And she said, "Why are you asking?" She's paranoid. And they ate, high fat diets with lots of lard, that kind of stuff in it. But they also worked 12 to 15 hours a day and didn't sit around. And they were,
Oh, you have to have that
her
process.
grandfather and her great grandfather, into their 90s were working the farm. And they all lived to be either almost 100 or over 100.
Well, it's like you can eat 10,000 calories a day if you burn 10,000 calories a day. It's all relative.
Right. Yep.
But if you sit at a computer all day, you probably shouldn't be intaking 10,000 calories a day.
Well, like the guys on those, fishing boats and crabbing boats, man, they say sometimes they'll eat 12, 15,000 calories a day because they're out 20 hours, literally moving the whole time. So they come in and they're at a calorie deficit.
Yep.
Well,
like anyone that's ever played a gig, how starved are you after playing a set, let alone a night?
Hungry.
Yeah, like I can't remember how many times like playing those 4-set nights during the second set, getting the attention of a waitress. I'm like, plate of fries here in 15 minutes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Or before you even go on, you'll say, what's the lead time in the kitchen? They tell you half an hour. Okay. When you hear, I'll look at the set list. When you hear this song, put in an order of fries for me. And sure enough, my bandmates would get pissed because you arranged that beforehand. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. And we'll be back in 15 minutes. And literally the waitress is handing me a plate of food.
Yeah.
And they're like, how? What?
You just have to hope they know the song.
Well, when you're playing bar rock, they know. And when I was playing originals, they knew because we played a lot of times the same venues. And so they knew the set list.
So what's the best concert you guys have ever been to?
Musically would be Lighthouse. And you're like, oh, no, it's a Lighthouse? Yeah, Lighthouse, which if you don't know, because they're Canada's equivalent of Chicago. So like a 11-piece band. They were
My wife
amazing.
loves the Lighthouse. Tom?
I'm thinking, I don't know. I really have to think about that. What is yours, Randy?
It's going to be strange because I'm going to give you two. I saw Pink Floyd down in Phoenix.
Wow.
On the Division Bell tour, which was
Cool.
awesome. It was a great show and all of that. But the concert I had the most fun at was Hootie and the Blowfish.
Interesting.
They were playing covers. They were playing Georgia Satellite. They're playing Aerosmith and all this stuff. And they're just dancing around having fun. This was something to put on from Wells Fargo when I worked for Wells Fargo. And they were supposed to play for an hour, and they ended up pulling the plug on them about an hour and 45 minutes because they had to get ready for Play Aiken.
Yeah.
I will give honorable mentions to when I saw Neil Young. He had Booker T and the MGs backing him. That was an epic show. And I was fortunate enough to see Tom Petty on his last tour. And that was an amazing, because it was the 40th anniversary. So they played all kinds of deep cuts.
So the top four, I saw Emerson, Lake and Palmer twice.
Wow.
Ooh, nice.
Whoa. First one, the first time I saw them, they had the orchestra and the choir. And right after that, they stopped because it cost them like $1 million to put on a show, and they just couldn't afford it anymore. Then I saw them, just the three of them playing, and they didn't need an orchestra. Just be honest, they did not need an orchestra. Can't believe three guys can make that much noise.
Yeah. I don't know if I can give you one. I can tell you a couple, though, that for me that really stood out. The one that for me was the most just outright fun, had nothing to do with the music because I wasn't a huge fan of the music. It was the person I went with. So I went with this really fun female that I was hanging out with at the time. And it was a Dave Matthews concert. And let me just tell you, it was a fun concert.
I love Dave Matthews, man.
It was a fun concert.
Well, yeah, in that case, then I'd have to say Paul Rogers live because someone had a very soft spot for Paul Rogers.
I'm not a huge fan at the time. She was like an enormous fan, and I was probably a bigger fan at the time than I am now. I did dig the stuff though that he did, like the live at Luther College with Tim. What's his name? Who's the guy who plays guitar with Dave Matthews sometimes? People that aren't Dave Matthews.
Nice.
Wouldn't know, but he's a phenomenal guitarist. I'm trying to think of his name.
Metalworks, Pink Floyd at the CNE, which is the Canadian National Exhibition.
Which is why I knew. It's the only reason.
That's be about 50,000, 55,000 capacity outdoor. That's where the Toronto Blue Jays played at the time in the 80s. CNE Stadium, Bandshell. That's where I saw Neil Young play opening day of the CNE because that's what Neil did every year. He played opening day.
So I guess one of the coolest ones I saw when I lived in England for a short period of time, I went in London. I went to the Wembley Stadium and I saw it was like an all-day show. And I saw Lenny Kravitz, which I wasn't a huge fan, but his band was awesome.
Oh, Lenny
I saw
Kravitz
him live. That was a good show.
Black Crowes, Aerosmith, and I was like maybe 15 or 20 feet from the stage in Wembley Stadium. You know, you couldn't leave, but I was there the whole day.
Right.
That was awesome. Jeff Beck in London at Ronnie Scott's, about 6 feet from Jeff Beck, was cool. And then I saw Jeff Beck in Pittsburgh when I was in music school. He was like a guest of our music school there at Duquesne. And so I get to spend the whole day with Jeff Beck and Jennifer Batten and my guitar instructors. That was phenomenal.
Nice.
Jeff Beck at Ronnie Scott's.
I saw him at Ronnie Scott's in London.
Oh man, I hate you now.
I was like 4 feet from him when they were filming one of those DVDs.
Oh, is that the one with that blonde, bushy-haired bass player? You were there?
Yeah.
Oh man, I really hate you now.
Well, on that note, we've gone well past the 2-hour mark here tonight. Ain't that crazy?
Goes quick.
I got a bit of a munch on for some reason. I don't know why that happens.
The time goes quick.
Yeah. Definitely thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Everyone should hop on over to Metalhead Hippies channel after this. Tell them Ben sent you. Invade. You don't even have to stick around. Just pop in, say hello, and then dip, as the kids say. You can dip on out. But that's okay. You won't dip. It's good stuff. Yeah, Radford. I know. Yeah, everyone that tuned in. We had a bunch of people. We still got 46 people watching. Definitely want to thank. You see, I looked. And I'm like, no, he's that way on screen. So I'll point this way. I want to thank Randy Crooks for coming on tonight. He texted right after the wrap up of last week's show. He goes, "Hey, I'll come on." I'm like, "Let's do it, bro."
Nice.
And then, of course, Tommy Boy here, who's going to be joining me tomorrow night with Canucks with Guitars in approximately 22 hours, where we're going to do probably more of this. Probably.
By the way, I want to commend you. Getting Tom on to help you on Monday nights is great.
Oh,
thank you. I agree. It's a clearer show. The numbers are better. Let's see what happens this week. It could have been a one-time phenomenon. Everyone's tuning in. What?
No side this week with me. I just want to answer real quick. I don't want to cut you off, Ben, before we go, though. T-Mitz asked, he said, I think he means Berkeley. He says Berserkly, which some people call it Berserkly. No, a couple of my friends went to Berkeley. I didn't go there. I went to, I don't remember what the name of the actual music school is now, but University of Miami, I went to their school of music. It was a jazz school. And I also went to school in Pittsburgh at Duquesne University at their school as well.
Who the hell was I going to have on next week? Hey, Alex Radford, do you want to come on next week? Maybe that's who. I think it was young Mr. Radford. We'll do a double thing. Will you come on my channel, then I'll come on your channel.
There you go.
Unless you've already got a guest book for next Sunday, you don't want to up things, See, I censored myself there. So, yeah, if you want to hit me up on the or in the chats, fine. If you want to do next week, because he says he can't wait. And I think well, there he goes. He says he's down. So 1 week from tonight, we'll have young Mr. Radford on the channel. That should be fun.
Nice.
Oh, I always have a blast when I hang with him. Of course, I'm never sober either, but that's okay. And because I won't be next week. So there we are. I'm going to continue with the isolation. I got to shoot some videos tomorrow as well. We had people asking for stuff. I did put out that quarantine video and said, there you go.
I say do the Reno Fin again.
Well, I'm going to do all my tellies, and I'm going to count that as a telly. As far as I'm concerned, it's a T-shaped object, so it's going to be thrown in. I did have some requests for shootouts between pedals that I don't own, so that's going to be hard while I'm quarantined, so that's not going to work. I'm sure the commenters meant well. I'm going to do some repairs, probably. Maybe finally do that output jack on, well, that one. The 71 telly might get a new output jack because, Brad Miller sent me one a year and a half ago, so might be good. I think he was in the chat earlier. I can't remember. Brad Miller's another guy I have to get on at some point. We'll do that again because he was on briefly not too long ago, but we'll do it again. Same as Laz. We should have Laz on sometime. That'd be a good idea. So that's probably the shows for the next few weeks. It'll probably be Laz and maybe Brad Miller. We'll see. And then I probably should return those phone calls and such that I'm supposed to do too. So until next week, thanks, Randy. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody that tuned in. Special thanks to anybody that donated tonight. Shout out to the mod squad. There's a bunch of them, apparently. Channel members, patrons, all that fun stuff. And as always, hold those doors open. Let that guy in heady in traffic. Do good things, and good things will happen to you. Doug's wife is real, so karma is real. I know I vacationed with her. Be good to each other. Keep your stick on the ice. Be well. Be safe.
Nose to the grindstone. Don't forget that one.
Nose to the grindstone, but only if it's smooth and it's cool. Nose to the grindstone, especially if it has that stuff that's now legal in personal quantities in Oregon. Definitely nose to the grindstone.
That's true. And I do want to say thanks to who is it? Black Side Guitar Nut for the nice comments.
Yes, thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you, man.
So, cheers, rock on, all that good stuff. Oh, like, share, and subscribe. We could mention that at the very end of the show. That'd be a good idea. Although I don't know. In case you're lurking, it's all been the regulars for the most part in the chat here. I had a great time. I hope these guys did too. Be well. Wind at your back. I like that. Wind at your back. Keep it high, wide, and handsome. No, that's the NAS Canucks show, Tom. Wrong show. So there we are. It's time.